Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk CRE To Me, real conversations and real insights for anyone navigating commercial real estate. I'm Derrick Stricker of CRE.
Jazmine with Stricker CRE.
Stricker was missing on that CRE, but let's roll with it. For me, I messed it up. Let's
It's
go.
fine.
We're talking.
I said it.
We did. So tagline, insert out of the way. It's been a while since we've connected, Jasmine. Was that like last Tuesday?
Sure, like 6 months ago.
That's a long time.
I know.
But it seems like it was maybe 3 weeks of time at the same time.
I think that we tried to do this sooner, but the deal flow, life, everything just kind of got in the way. Pipeline, clients, they're important.
The stuff we were talking about last time,
Mm-hmm.
all that work came to deal fruition, transaction, and movement. So
Right.
it was kind of hard to navigate all of it. But we had, after a weird 12 months,
Mm-hmm.
it's been a weird year, and we'll have a year in probably episode, right?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Depends the deal flow. But like and subscribe. Joking. We got a lot of movement at the end of May. Finally, what was a deal that stood out of some closings that we did, leases or sales, that we want to kind of share with some of the insights behind the scenes to our watchers, listeners, and educating the commercial real estate field out there. Not just Tri-Cities, we're talking all markets, small markets, rural markets. The concepts still apply. I think we had 10, 12 deals hit all in 1 month. Kind of pent up Tri-City demand. Which one kind of stands out? And let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think I want to touch base on a sale that led into a sublease that then finally led into a sale.
Oh yes, the domino
Yes,
effect of
our
the
condo
Deschutes,
sale.
Fowler. Yes.
Yeah. Because with that one, we went under contract, right? And then we realized we have to lease a space to be able to purchase a building,
Yes.
which started an entire conversation. And also came back to why it's good to talk to brokers and let us be involved where we can be.
I remember some of those things now as
Yes.
you're saying this out loud. Of like,
There are definitely some, I don't even know what to call it, like just a lot of items that came up that could have been avoided, or at least we could have gone ahead of, right?
we'll call them nuances for
Yeah, nuances. That would have helped, I guess, the transaction in general.
Okay, let's talk about the property real fast.
Yeah.
What's if I'm listening? What's the shoot? The shoot's condo,
Yep.
as we now call it. As what was that?
It was a large office condo that was formerly financial services, right? And I actually think it's still financial services now.
Still
right?
financial services, still. Yeah.
Yep. So
Okay.
buyer and seller knew each other, which is helpful, but also sometimes hurtful, right? When this happens, because there's sidebar conversations. We were already engaged with the listing. We were already pushing everything, right? And then it was like, oh, we have a buyer, right? Which is fantastic. There were, again, though, a lot of things that were discussed prior, like the existing lease that they still had 3+ years on.
Is that important?
It's very important.
Gotcha.
Because they had to get out of the lease, right, to be able to purchase. So
Easy to do sometimes.
easy to do in theory,
Yeah.
and in market, right?
Yeah.
It depends on what's trending and what's not.
Easy, simple. Let's see what that means. Yeah.
Right. And I think we had like 4,000 square feet to work with that needed to be leased
Of the
of the
Fowler.
building,
Yes.
like 3,500 to 4.
It was a similar
Something like
size,
that.
yeah. So like the office condo Deschutes was a listing of ours, right? And it was a great learning experience of the market in 2024 and 2025, right? Because we kind of came in the year last year thinking this is going to be a lot of things pent up, moving momentum, regardless of headlines.
Right.
And I think it was kind of the first part of seeing it and being close with the seller myself, right? Was, hey, what's going on? How come stuff's not selling?
Right.
And I think what was some of the reasons things weren't selling back then and earlier this year? Before May, nothing was selling.
Yeah.
But give me two things you think that were causing slowness of seller expectations like Deschutes.
Yeah. I think it was the bank's requirements. The requirements that were not disclosed up front, right? And requirements that were a little bit more heavy on buyers that were actually really strong, right?
Yeah, it was almost like unfair guidelines for a strong buyer.
Exactly.
But in a better market, those would be gone. But since it's scary out there, they had harder requirements.
Definitely.
So that's why we had to get creative, right? I mean, because it was the seller of the condo knew this possible buyer. They just had to get out of their office. They had a
Right.
really nice Class A building or office in a building, and
Well, and I think the buyers too were like the avatar of the buyer when we even got the listing, right? Like this was already the type of user that would make sense to purchase it and was who we were looking for anyways.
yeah, hey, financial services,
Right.
same. What helps? They all have the
Strong.
same perimeter offices, conference room, kind of office layout needs.
Well, in a business that's finally ready to pivot into purchasing.
Yes, which is
Right.
ideal. It's hard to find things to buy because of our supply in Tri-Cities. A lot of small markets is always 2 to 5 years behind.
Right.
And so it's an opportunity, but, was the buyer in the market ready to step up yet?
Well, we made it work.
Hell yeah. We did. And I think some of the thing about it was, hey, double check, right? What's some things we do? And, we thought you have smart people, you have smart clients, you have smart, people working with. I think from a broker standpoint, hey, make sure we have all the information too.
Yeah.
And I think that's where
Well, and see it versus.
I never had that lease.
Yeah.
I was just told what the
Right.
lease was from
And
smart.
that it was fine.
And that's okay. And this
Yeah.
happens all the time to amazing, successful people. That's one more
everyone's
checks
running.
and balance. You can tell everyone's running twice
Mm-hmm.
as fast right now than they were in the previous
Right.
part of the year. And that's where I think that checks and balances just minimizes time and efforts, and that would have really helped up front. Say, hey, doesn't work. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go back over here. But was that a mistake that we found out? How would you say? On our side, I mean, are we calling out mistakes? I
Yeah,
don't know.
I guess it's a mistake. I mean,
Well, I think it's a learning.
yeah, it's a
here's the thing.
learning. It's more so just learning and thinking about when we get to this point again, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that it is an established business, knowing that they're in a lease, just saying, hey, can we just see it? It's not that we're trying to overstep, but just get ahead of things if we can.
No, because I think how many things we see nuances between the
Right.
deals, right?
Right.
And if I go to my anyone else, vendors, people I use for business,
Mm-hmm.
CPA, a lawyer, hey, we all know a lot, but we don't know what they do every single day and over, all the hours. So that was my lesson is, hey, demand nicely the documents. We just have clarity.
Right.
And then let's move on to the next step. You want to buy the building, but we need to do this. Okay, now we have here's this section. They want to get out of their lease. So what's a way you can do that, Jazmine? What's a way to get out of a lease because you have an opportunity to buy something or maybe expand into a better facility you've always wanted? What's something you can do?
Assign it, sublease. Yeah.
That's really the only
Well,
option.
and that was the next step with this conversation was, okay, now that we know that we have a lease to assign, sublet, whatever it may be, let's bring it to market. And I think it honestly helped that we've worked with the property owner before of the
Always.
space that they needed to sublease. That helped the conversation tremendously, but also it really challenged us to find someone quickly for the space.
Yes, because when people are trying to sublease to get into a space that's available,
Right.
that means it's only available for a certain amount of time probably. So what can you get in there? What can a subtenant assume that the tenant gave them, right? The rent, and then what's the landlord think about it? So
Right.
still a few hoops to get through.
Right.
And so, I
Well,
think
and this sublease was somewhat difficult because we did have TIs that we had to work through, right? We went from traditional office to somewhat medical. And so that always adds to the conversation. We ended up doing a new lease, which I think is pretty common
common for
in our
subleases
market.
to go
yeah,
direct.
just to go direct. It's a lot cleaner.
Landlords prefer it. They're probably bankers prefer it, just less mess to deal with. But
Yeah.
sometimes some leases are very flexible and work out very nice. What's funny is the new medical tenant and the Fowler landlord, they knew each other though.
Right.
So it was
Which
actually
also helped.
So this domino was the Deschutes knew each other. These current office of the new buyer was available, and that landlord and this possible new tenant knew each other, so they kind of connected in. So on this side, it helped us on both ends, but on this one, the Fowler is like, all right, you guys got the right person in because the landlord was familiar with them.
Right.
And do you think that is what helped push the deal over? Is not landlord knowing, but a landlord feeling confident about changing things that were already established?
Yeah, I think that though, with any deal that we're doing right now in the market, the landlord's confidence is really important in the tenant that's coming into the space, no matter where they're at. I think that it helped because it was a good use for the property itself because of the setup and everything like that. And it was complementary to the existing tenants.
So gave him enough reasons to say, hey, I will let go of the bird in hand contractually
Right.
to open up this new opportunity.
Well, and I think too, the way that we laid out both deals made sense for everyone, right? I think that even though they all knew each other, it was definitely beneficial that we were able to help with those conversations, because I think there were a lot of roadblocks that would have just killed the conversation.
For sure. I mean, there's like 13 of them in this deal, and I
Right.
feel like we did a great job of getting past all those. Where I think, honestly, like not most that would not have happened in that domino. That
Right.
worked out. I think it took a lot of hands-on from both ends of the
Yeah.
sandboxes, and allowing, like, after the kind of lease thing,
Right.
hey, we don't have time to mess up. We don't have time to not know something. We need to be ahead of these other people. So
Right.
it created a lot of stress, but also, I mean, in 60 days, so actually, let's go back here. So the Schute's buyer couldn't at first get into it, and they
Right.
couldn't just leave their space. When you are talking to business owners that are currently leasing right now, and they want to, move, we're up sublease, same time as, approach your landlord. Not just, I'm leaving, I want to
Right.
leave. Like, if you have a good rapport, another reason to have a good rapport with the landlord, and vice versa, landlord
Right.
to tenant.
There is like a relationship there that is beneficial to establish for both parties, just because it makes you a little bit more real.
Exactly, and sticking power, and the next owner of that building and inherits these things, so it's all good stuff.
Exactly.
But I think if you're a small business or any business, right, and you a lot happening right now is a lot of people are consolidating or merging, or they're being bought out by private equity groups right now. That was a big
Right.
thing this last 12 to 15 months. Probably a little bit of that is over now, but a lot of what's happening is those purchases, just like our dental and Sandifer and those places, they bought too much.
Right.
And so they need to start trimming, come back, and get out of things. So I think the first step is, all right, hey, open up a conversation with your landlord, right? I mean, just to kind of know where they're at. If it's a hell no, or like, what are you thinking?
Right.
Because just knowing
Well, because
that.
some will say, okay, there's a buyout, or they're somewhat reasonable, right? With expectations and things like that.
Yeah. Do you think people should reach out to their landlord before they get a hold of a commercial broker to talk about that?
No, I think that you should reach out to your broker first, so they
Set up
can.
questions, just joking.
Your broker, not necessarily us, but I would say reach out to your broker first. Have them review your lease. That's like the very first step of all of the conversations, because you may have a buyout in there that you don't know about or you forgot about because your lease is however long.
Yeah.
And also see what that assignment fee is, because too, if it makes more sense just to assign it and you have someone that wants to take over your space and it's $12.50 to do so, that is going to save you more money.
Yeah.
Versus subleasing and then incurring all the costs that come with that. Because too, if you sublease, you still aren't necessarily taken off of the lease, right? You're still liable.
Yeah.
So just, talk to your broker.
Yeah, the
first.
cleanest way is a
brand new
is a
lease.
brand new direct deal. Then the next one probably is it's the sublease and or the assignment, really assignment what it is,
Right.
number 2, and sublease would be 3. And the different risk levels there, and depends your landlord, and depends what's coming in,
Right.
and it also depends the demand. If you're a business that's got a very highly specialized property or office and you want to leave, how hard is it for that landlord to backfill this is a golden doodle shower puppy farm
Right.
that only sets up. Well,
Right.
shit, how hard is it to find that tenant that can use that?
Definitely.
Probably a soup kitchen, just joking. But I think that plays a big factor of landlord's attitude and broker, hey, okay, you have a high issue here. Actually, you know what? There's some odds here that this can work out.
Right.
Not that I want to talk about subleases nonstop, but that definitely became a thing. And I think the
Yeah.
theme is we had to get through the sublease era, and maybe it's still continuing in some ways,
Right.
to get to the actual deal, transaction, closing, lease execution phase, because that was our new hurdle that we really haven't had in 5 years. That many subleases.
yeah.
The amount of sublease and options and buyouts that I've done in the last 6 months is
No,
staggering.
it's significant. I don't.
I'm not into it, but
No.
it's part of it.
Yeah,
and I've
it's
learned a
part
lot
of it.
from it.
Right.
And we want to share some of it because I didn't know these options the first kind of 12 years of this industry. Okay, sublease. So, okay, now that Deschutes condo buyer, hey, that buyer's back. We want to buy it. We learned from the landlord they won't just let him out. Okay, understandable.
Right.
Let's get that listed on the market with the for lease now. We're in connection with the landlord, so he knows what's going on, and the tenant. And we had 60 days to get someone in there maybe to sublease this space for them to be bankable to buy this condo over here to keep 42 people happy.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Ready, set, go.
Sign me up again.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's fine.
It was great. I mean, what was great is, what really helped this domino effect was having, a great broker team, great broker relationships with property owners, experience, things you can use, precedents, stuff that makes you feel like, okay, that makes sense. Because, at the end of the day, you're asking the landlord, give up guaranteed money for a risk of more money or something else.
Right.
And so I think that helps. But we had great contractors and vendors that helped us get through this thing. They had the same speed, they had the same intensity, the same urgency. And I think that was a big piece of us being able to operate in that side of it.
I think how quickly they were able to provide what we needed helped significantly, because then we could take it all back to the table of the conversations that we're having with the landlord, the leaseor, and the potential subleaser.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it brought more buy-in from all the parties involved. Subtenant, old tenant, landlord, whatever it was.
Right.
Hey, we're all on the same page. This feels good.
Then we got to negotiate furniture.
I don't want to talk about that. I'm not a furniture broker.
forgot
I
about
broker
that.
everything except furniture, even though I have done some
We
furniture.
don't want to do that again.
The vendors definitely helped us out on that one, being part of the team.
For sure.
So I think, hey, if we're talking stuff, it's talking to the landlord, it's talking to the broker to see review first of the lease. What can you do? What are your options?
Right.
Regardless if you have one picked out, what are your options? I want to know, 4 to 6 months ahead before you have your private best spot picked up and you're waiting for your last 18 months of your term to figure out when you can leave. Let's talk now.
Right.
Right? Get with Jazmine, look at the lease. Maybe you're actually getting a great rate. Maybe you're like, man, you're paying $9 a square foot. The market's 16. You can't afford to move.
Right.
Or like in one case right now, a different sublease. God, that was not the theme of this show. The dock high warehouse space that we've been kind of flirting with, right? Is that was on a long-term lease.
Yep.
Hey, 4 dock highs, 15,000 square feet, sprinkler, hard to find warehouse space, Tri-Cities in Eastern Washington. Current tenants paying, like $3, $4 below market rate.
Right.
Because they had a long-term lease with options, and now it's time to come up. And hey, shoot, there's actually like more and more to gain now from the landlord, from everyone. So there's a lot of opportunities within these kind of nuanced things to discover. So long-winded, get with a broker, see your lease, see your options, see your timing, and kind of update like, hey, we're in a weird market. What else has changed?
Right.
Title change at all? Is there any new energy codes in the state of Washington? For sure.
If there's a change of use.
Change of use from the city. Love to do that.
Fire.
Or, same time is a banking requirements. They got stiffer. So what happened a year ago, kind of like some of the first part of this intro conversation on the transaction was old news. Not even that old though.
But it is.
But it is. So I think there's that stuff. But I do think that, what are 2 things you think you learned from that just kind of domino transaction in that one right there?
I don't know. I haven't thought about this.
I know. So this is our therapy right here.
Yeah. I think
real.
like
CRE.
this sounds bad, I feel like. But I guess sometimes like not being reactive to the information that we're being sent, because I think it got a little dicey, right? Which can be overwhelming. But it's okay to like sit with it and not respond right then and there.
Yeah, I mean, this is where, emotional intelligence comes in, right? Because it's tough. I know, because I talk, I work hard, I do a lot of work in my
Well, and I think not
things.
taking it like personal.
That's exactly.
That was very much a lot of it. I'm like, okay, this isn't about me, which is good.
Exactly. And you can't. And also, I think, all right, so that's one.
I mean, I think it was just another way to like look at strategy of how we're putting together an offer or how we can basically make it work for everyone because one thing is more important than the other. Like when we're talking about TI allowance or negotiating rent abatement. So that way everyone's getting the same concession, right? But maybe it's offset one way or the other. Mm-hmm. Because with this one, we had a new lease, so we had TI like floated into the rent, right? And structured that for so long over the term. And then we also got to negotiate commission because that's always part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Right? So figuring out how to make the numbers math for everyone, even though the math doesn't always math, but getting it there.
Yep.
That everyone's like, okay, I can live with this, right?
I like that. Yeah, I think one that I'm a big fan anyway, but especially in this deal was with all the cooks in the kitchen, right? And then they really think there was like 8 parties, which
Yeah.
smiles.
And that wasn't even including us.
Is transparency of information. With so many people, so many unknowns so quick, you can't help being conservative and being like, wait, I don't want to rush this and freak out, but people assume things if you don't kind of fill them in. Luckily, if you have a good history and a known, you can kind of mitigate those things. But I do think the transparency information we gave everyone, so everyone just was updated that, hey, it's a domino effect, this is contingent, this is contingent, there's nothing hidden here, and we're moving the whole storyboard together.
Right.
And I feel like that was the key thing that helped get the deal done was we had all the information, 1. 2, we shared all the information. And then, like you said, we sat on it. Not sitting on like sat in the reaction. Oh, how, just cool. Back to facts. Less about emotions.
Right.
Back to facts.
100%.
And I have empathy, and I also learn, more about empathy too, because I understand these people that are working long hours, not sleeping well, or whatever it is, making moves, making decisions, and being kind of crabby, and they're like, well, F off, F you. But also
Right.
like, hey, you have a newborn, or you're tired, or I
Right.
get it.
Right.
So I'm not going to take it that you
We'll have
didn't like
life.
my email. But that was good and very relevant in that. And I do think that, hey, there's a lot of doubt
Right.
from all parties.
There's
And
a lot of faith though too. I mean, because like you said, it was so transparent. So everyone knew what each other was working with.
Yeah.
Right. So as much as like there was nervousness and all of the things, there was still a lot of faith, and we all want to make this deal work because we're all getting something out of it.
Yeah.
It's benefiting all of us.
I mean, hey, like one of my things, hey, mutual wins. Everyone wins together.
Right.
And that's a lot of ways, especially in down markets, soft markets, unknown markets. It's got to be mutual wins most times. If something doesn't mean they're always getting the same monies.
Right.
But it's hey, timing. Oh, you're out by now, and this goes, and you do this, and you pay a little bit. Oh, okay, 6, 7. I got it in. That's for Duke. Boom.
I can't.
Okay, I got Sons next.
Leia's
see how
gonna
goes.
love it.
So like and subscribe, 6, 7. Is it 3, 4 now? It is funny how many times you actually do say that damn number though. I do say it a lot because I'm always not doing 3 and 4s. I'm always like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9. Think about your cadence of that.
I've never thought about that, but then I don't want to do that.
Well, I'm not gonna change anything.
Okay.
I hope 6, 7 dies out so that I can go back to normal 6, 7. But anyway, so that was a great deal, and we learned a lot from that. And I do think we summed up those points that we can kind of grab, and Jake can probably put in there a nice soundbite too.
Yeah.
Of, is Stricker Series just straight sublease brokers?
No.
But definitely a theme of 25, and definitely a theme of if you're a small business or investor, what are your options to get out of it, right? I mean, just
Yeah.
knowing your father-in-law 15 years ago was like, it's not how you get in a partnership and a project, it's how you get out of the project. Just knowing your out options, and I was like, they really are equally so important up front. And I think that's what kind of reviewing a lease, seeing that you have too much growth going on. Maybe a small business hired 8 more people, or they acquired a insurance part of the business and they're consolidating offices. You got to make real commercial real estate moves to make everyone hit operationally, to make your cash flow hit for your business, to pay back the rent. There's your ecosystem. Back to here. And I lost my point. It's fine.
It's okay. I mean, I think too, like, with the amount of subleases that we've done, they're helpful in the conversations that I'm even having with a lot of tenants that are afraid of a 5-year lease, right? Because it's so long.
Exactly.
And it's scary and it's so far away. And I think that because we've been doing it for the past year, I'm able to speak to it and just say, hey, there are some landlords that they're not going to do a shorter term.
Yeah.
That's just not something they're interested in. I know that that's scary, but if you do love this building, that's unfortunately part of the conversation, right? So being able to speak to the fact that we've successfully done a lot of subleasing and assignments or brand new leases based off of a sublease is helpful to the conversation because they know, okay, it's not ideal, but I do love this location. I do want this specific rent. This is something that we're negotiating, working through, and that may be an option for me because, I mean, the CEVA leases have it in there. But if it was a lease that didn't, we would just make sure it was written in.
Yeah, I think it comes back to hey, know what you're signing, know your documents, the devil's in the details. But don't be scared so much not to make a move though. And I feel like I'm seeing people kind of over freak out right now, currently in November, and the pause of the unknown equals terribleness. But really, when things are hotter, people are cooler with it. No pun intended. And it's like know your options, know your legals. I think what is a minimum term you think if I'm a retail user leasing right now or getting into a lease if I'm in financial services? Doesn't matter. Retail, but office, what's
3 years.
3 years?
Yep.
Minimum?
Yep.
What if you're new construction? Or not new.
What do you mean?
Like say you're
like you're building a shell?
Like you're 2 or 3 years old of a building. Not brand new. Not like one of their developments. Are they still looking for 5s? Or do they do it 3 right now because of the market?
Questions. Is it built out?
Yes.
Is it okay? So it's
no TIs. Really.
no TIs. Okay.
Yeah. Let's use. Yeah, I don't want to use an example. Give too much.
I'm
Do you want me to use an example?
yeah.
Okay.
What are we talking about? So we're talking about retail space, right?
Yes.
So I would say 3 years is the minimum. For a space that's turnkey, that's what owners are agreeing to, right? We have to be mindful of that. A lot of my clients, though, are looking for a shorter term because they're scared of the unknown and because they've seen so many different shifts in the market or in their specific realm of the world, whether it's a retailer, really any type of retail, right? But I would say the majority of ownership, the expectation is a 3-year term, especially if you're trying to get any rent abatement. Most do. So,
why would it make sense for landlord to do a 3-year deal? It seems like a more of a better term for the tenant than the landlord. Why would that be good for the landlord though too, you think?
I would say because there's so much volatility with a retail client, you don't want to necessarily lock them in for 5 years if they're not going to be successful, right? Because you're going to then have an empty space that if it's someone who can't pay dark rent, may not be, right? So you're just going to be sitting on a vacant space versus the 3-year is a lot more manageable. And typically you have some built-in renewals too. So that way the tenant can show, okay, I can withstand this. I'm good to go. Or within, 18 months of that initial term, they may know, okay, I'm not going to be able to make it much longer, right? Have that conversation.
Yeah.
And either work out a buyout at some point. I've had a couple tenants do that in the last year where they've basically just paid ownership back for their incurred costs of leasing the space to get out of the lease.
Yep.
And I think depending on the ownership, they've been open to that because again, the options are kind of limited. Most people don't want to take them to court. I mean,
no,
it isn't always beneficial financially, depending on the space.
Been to court over.
Well, I hope you don't go to court.
No, like my clients. I mean, the people deals, not me.
Yeah.
Clean. But no, I mean, hey, this guy moved out and he's got $37,000 back rent.
Right.
I haven't came across a lot of those, which is great, and you know what? Eventually it will happen, right?
Yeah.
It's just a numbers game, but
it's having those conversations though. As a business owner, you know when you're starting to get nervous or when it's a lot tighter than you would prefer it to be. But too, as a landlord or property manager or whoever you're having facilitate the property, there's also signs of that happening.
Yeah.
Just lack of activity.
For sure.
Counting cars, all of the things. So.
How many days defines abandonment?
Right.
Exactly.
14.
So, I think also on the why is it beneficial for landlords to be okay with a 3-year deal, like you said, is that it mitigates their out-of-pocket expense. They don't have to give as much, like you said, free rent or TIs, because that's actual cash dollars,
Right.
right? You can't really just get it from the bank. It's got to be your cash. So it's got kind of a slower ROI. I do, like I said, it's the volatility. And if you're looking right now, it depends your space. If you have a 1,500 square foot retail space or a 7,000 square foot retail space or office, they kind of, the same analogy applies both across the asset types in some ways, is too much stuff's happening. The Amazon effect is real, and I think a lot of, tertiary markets, it's 80% chambers, small businesses, not 80% tech companies and those things, which is the same elements and principles and risk we're talking about here, but on just a higher level and multiple for everyone involved. But it's the same concepts and principles that work your way up there. But I think things are changing. I'm a landlord. I don't want to bet on you. We're seeing a lot of recently, and some surprising that, hey, a lot of these newer, brand new LLCs that, they have wherewithal, they have experience, they have enough to get an actual deal done. And through us, as their brokers too, we're always asking our people to have business plans and have numbers and know all this stuff, because this shit matters. That's who cares when it comes down to it. But we're seeing tenants shell out over $100,000 themselves just to get a start in a 1,500 square foot space. And that's not including, other stuff, but the landlord's already putting hundreds of thousands of dollars in that space. So they have to come to the table with that much money. And these are new build outs, so that's different. But the principles, you're seeing how, and the landlord's saying, all right, is a med spa, can Amazon put med spas out of business? Not yet.
Right.
Is there, hey, could COVID happen again? What does that do? Right? What's this business do if COVID presence comes back? Force majeure, again, check your lease, check your broker. What's that business going to do? And I think that there's upside in not long-term deals, but the strategy forever is long-term leases, long-term leases. And I think actually, as I walk away this year, I see iterations of ownership, 3 to 5 year hold periods.
100%.
They'll never be the same. Now that I've gone through 15 years almost of this and seen enough things in the last 10 years, the same owner and different tenants. Or Tuscany Plaza, we have the same tenants for 20 years. It's insane.
That's awesome.
Besides WAMU becoming Chase, which is the same.
Right.
There may be one other change, but anyway, it makes sense to be more nimble than it was before, but you still need a long enough term to make sure you're well underwritten with your bank though still too.
Right.
That's probably the only that's the real big catch there. So a balance to the tenant, and again, back to balance, back to transparency, back to finding out work, because I don't think at all coming up right now is a one-sided transaction.
Yeah. I also think too, it matters where the property owners are at in their journey
In
of
life?
owning real estate. And I think specifically commercial real estate. I just think that that's important to the conversation when I am representing tenants, right? Knowing the owners, not because they're necessarily my clients, but because I've done deals previously for them and brought tenants to other properties that they own, but understanding how they like to work, right? And finding something that's comparable for everyone. Because I think that it matters a lot if it's someone's first development versus third or fifth, in what they're willing to give and get.
It's probably like raising children and having.
I'm
I know a
sure.
lot about childbirth, so I think that the third child I birth.
No, you don't.
I don't know about that.
Take it back.
I take it back. Thank you, Kathleen.
Yes.
But it gets easier as you've gone through it. The third kid's not going to die and eat glass right there.
It's not as scary.
It's not as scary. Possibility, yes.
Right.
It's always a 1, 2, 8%,
sure.
whatever. But you're not fretting over that. But a first-time landlord, it's first-time developer that has the shakiest.
Even first-time landlord.
It's true, because the
think
situations
of-
you come across as a landlord, you're like, wait, am I supposed to be a badass and I'm not a bad cop and you're a good cop, or we like each other? Everyone's got the weirdest unknowns, and it's kind of funny to watch this shit happen. I love it.
And I think if you're representing ownership, it's good to understand what is their one thing, right? What is the one non-negotiable that they have, whether it's my rental rate has to be what it is, right? Or I don't give abatement, or I have to have this specific term, because then you're also letting everyone know and being transparent of the expectation.
For sure. I used to say all the time that Harlan Douglas, rest in peace, was allergic to tenant improvements.
Interesting.
Achoo! I can't give you $10 square foot.
think
Achoo!
we
I
have-
sure can't give you.
I know a few of those.
Yeah. So, but I use that. I mean, I use a lot of things in jokes.
Yeah.
But it was the truth. Hey guys, you're gonna come in here and want 12 months of free rent for this former Sports Authority, 47,000 square feet, whatever. Low ball here, low ball. Like, hey, you're not getting anything back. And actually, kind of don't waste our time if you're not gonna listen to what we're telling you.
Yeah.
But know this: isn't give TIs okay? Well, then hit up free rent and hit
Right.
this kind of rent rate thing, right? It helps us strategize because you only get what, one first impression.
Yeah.
And I feel like I see a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot, and they really want that space. And your
Right.
deal says, your deal does not show that though.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. No, I think the shorter terms, the sublease, this is the reactionary that are happening from a 12 to 24 month slowdown. And for us, I think it's more of a cool down, but really at the same time, it's the same. We had way less transactions. We had like a ton, I think $28 million in Tri-Cities in that end of May. I think we had like 11 of that or something. Or so it's just like these pent up burst of transaction flow. I've been so curious to see how we finish as Tri-Cities in the fourth quarter. You know,
Yeah.
are we going to do more deals? Is it in the next year? Is everyone still reading headlines and not doing business?
I think there's a good amount of deals to be done.
I think we're.
prior to the
I
end of the
think
year.
the U.S. consumer is used to shitty and sad and uplifting and unknown headlines right now. The last 24 months.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know what? We actually can't cash checks and keep life going no matter what headlines going. So we have to find a way to do it. And so I do think like that's going to, you know, trim down some of that noise and get into more deal transactions like we're seeing right now. I mean, it's very busy. There's a reason why we haven't done stuff in a few months here. But I do think this is the outcome of a slowdown. So taking this to our tenants now, I think you're right, especially newer tenants, business owners, or newer landlords,
Right.
newer developers. There's the same information that go to both sides, and just kind of depends, like you said, what's the goal. So my favorite things to ask people, no matter what the assignment is, when I come meet them, is like, hey, what are you after? You know, and that's a weird way to say it. Like, what's your goal? What's your exit goal? You know, and it's like, well, I don't have one. I'm like, well, no. Like, you're selling this building for what? You want to fill this space up for what? You want to move here? You know,
Right.
why? I want a bigger space.
What are you working towards?
Yeah. Well, if I do this, I can actually drop this line of business in 3 years and actually work 4 days a week. Huh? You say like your kids, right?
Yeah.
In 5. Okay, work backwards now because like right now, I got a big deal going. Actually, just had a client did turn down a full price offer on a purchase. Because it didn't match the seller's goal. You know, and it wasn't just price. It was like, hey, it didn't get my goal. I need this time frame. I need this. And if you the buyer can't figure that out, I don't care. And they're in a spot where I guess they're not as motivated as other people because they've done well. Maybe there's, you know, whatever it is, right?
Right.
If there's no loan, no
Yeah.
issues, you can be kind of demanding. But I think 80% of the market, especially Tri-Cities, Central Washington, all this kind of area, is you got to find a couple of levers to give that landlord and the tenant and say, all right, we cool. You got 2, I got 3, and we're all here.
Right. Well, and everyone's motivation level is so important to the conversation, no matter what side of the table they're on.
How do you gauge motivation? 'Cause I love that you said that.
Yeah,
That was
I mean,
perfect.
it definitely is going to be, it depends on the tenant or the landlord. But motivation from a tenant is more so how quickly are you trying to do this? And that's not the only thing that's going to motivate the conversation, but also how prepared are you? Because if you're already going that direction, then we're a lot closer,
Yeah.
right, to a deal no matter what. Even if you don't need a space for 8 months,
Yeah.
10 months, whatever,
Yeah.
we're already getting there, right? Whereas with owners, I feel like their motivation level is a lot of more outside factors. What do you need the cash flow? Are you getting the property ready to sell, right? Are we trying to have less rent right now because we want our, 12-month spread to look good? What's the goal, right?
Yeah.
But it's different for everyone.
And motivation can change in 6 months too. Like from the start of a
I mean,
listing
yeah.
of a property to the end of it, you know.
I mean, as commercial is so focused in like business, it's also still related to life. So I think outside factors are a huge piece of that conversation.
For sure. I mean, part of the things that help me and us understand how to talk to our clients when we're trying to working our butts off trying to sell lease these properties listings, right? And no matter what's going on is, hey, March hits, market dips out. A lot of people that would want to get into real estate don't have to now because, well, the market's weird, headlines, but hey, the stock market dipped, they all put money in there. Why go buy these deals that are complicated? I already have money set up just to buy more stock or 401k and all those things. And so I think all the capital went to those areas. And then now, hey, we're real frothy. It's definitely going to come down the last 15 days. But, it's not as hot. There's some unknown. I think people come back now. They come back to commercial real estate. It's a great diversified asset. There's lots of tax benefits about it. If you're a business owner, I mean, it's a vehicle that you need to have.
Right.
To take advantage of.
You had your deal that showed, right, the 2810.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a really good example, of putting your money into real estate, letting it do its thing, right? Even though the world is going on, right? And then they were able to make a fantastic return.
You definitely have to, because here's the thing, we're going to learn. And it's funny to be old enough now to kind of see it in Tri-Cities, because we're just kind of always, but you got to be confident to do it. It's definitely a risk. You got to put your money in the line. You got to put a lot of things in the line. It's risky. It hurts your personal relationships.
Right.
It's all kinds. I mean, it's hard. But if you believe in it, or you believe in your broker team, and you believe in the economics of it, it pays off so well. It's insane. And do you have to have millions of dollars in there to find that, Jazmine, to get this return and all these benefits, you think?
No, I mean, because you can ladder up. I think this is a long-term hold, whether or not it's a specific property. The goal, though, is to continue to exchange until you own, multi-million-dollar properties.
Yeah, I do. I think that a lot of people think that, I think there's a lot of podcasts and things out there. Hey, millions of dollars and how do you do stuff? You can see capital, but just get in.
Yeah.
Like, that's my biggest thing I've learned is looking at it, and because I do. Not I wish, and I lived in the past, but like I had all these ideas. You guys know me. And I can't do them all anyway, but like I've seen them play out now. I'm like, they all hit. They just might take a little bit longer than I thought at the time as a 31-year-old or whatever it was. Now
Well, your outlook is different, I'm sure.
Totally different now. I mean, I still want those things. I just know that, hey, it's definitely gonna happen in 18 months. You're gonna do this drive-in movie theater, awesome concept kind of stuff, and you know what? I still think that thing would slap, but I think it takes probably 4 years to find out, though, not 2.
Right.
So that's what I think in these markets is the concepts, the principles, they still hit in any market. It comes down to, a little bit of your confidence and the risk. And on the developer investor side, okay, more risk in there, but small business leases, we're all taking a risk. But that's what I love about this job is we're taking risk on ourselves, though, too, which is I'm going to bet anyone, I'll bet on myself, I'll bet on you, I'll bet on our team. Like this is, so I love seeing that when it comes together, especially like some local investors who, hey, sold them $240,000 industrial properties in 2014. Almost bought a Jetta from that seller. Was he a debt collector for like Gisa or Hapo? He had a whole laydown yard. Anyway, hey, just sold that this year. 10 years later, yeah, I mean, 2.5 times his money. So what? $600,000. Those returns you would think out on the outside that I got to have $1 million. We got to raise $200,000 each or 50,
Right.
and that's true. But like, it's not. There's other stuff to do it. Be aware though of your location.
Yep.
Your asset type. All these things. Not
Your
saying
tenant.
not just disregard those things, but still need to be good. It's still location.
Still work with the broker.
Still need a broker. Still need to check out your documents.
Yeah.
But it can be done at a cheaper amount than you thought, and that proves me too. I thought it was going to have to be Southridge development kind of projects to do that, not. And so actually, what do you think our top 2 hottest assets are in Tri-Cities and kind of Central Washington right now, just in general?
Top 2 hottest assets?
Yeah, types like industrial, multifamily, office.
Can they just be the ones I like, or?
Yeah, you do the ones you like. I'll say my answer.
Okay. I think industrial, even though I don't
I'll talk
it.
on that. Yeah, you go ahead.
I don't like industrial, but industrial
Why don't you like
is a
it?
given. It's just boring and
Okay.
not pretty.
Okay. It's not sexy enough.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
And then I would say retail. Multifamily is a tough market right now.
For sure.
It's a tough market. Their vacancy's high. I just talked to my mom earlier today and was just kind of getting her, update on all the things.
Washington State had the rent control bill get passed. Is that affecting some of those vacancies?
No,
Is that
it's
just kind of one more
actually,
thing?
we're oversaturated in Class A.
Okay.
That's really what it is in
Really?
our market. So there's high vacancy in that realm of multifamily. And of course, all the owners are like, why? And it's like, well, you guys built, 11,000 units at the same time. So,
Yeah, we
so
spent only so much.
that's a fun combo. But I wouldn't say multifamily, and maybe I'm wrong, but
No, I think
yeah.
you're right. And hey,
yeah.
buddy Steven
I
just
think
kind of said the same thing, right? When he came in.
industrial and retail.
Industrial and retail are the hottest. Do you think retail, were those the two hottest all year long? Or do you think retail is like kind of rebounded right now is after the fears?
I think it's rebounded because I do think that a lot of those vacancies from Party City have already pivoted, which is good.
Yeah,
right?
Five Below,
I
whatever.
think that
Yeah.
I think that helps significantly. I think if those sat for a long time, it'd be different. But I think because it was such a quick takeover and turnaround, I mean, even our vacant Sonics are all turning. So that realm is changing.
Yeah, I do. I think that like everyone's like, instead of freaking out, I think Americans, we just love to freak out, right? Okay. But it's like retail fell out, market's falling out. Hey, Amazon's put everyone out of business, or what would it be, and online, and all these things. Who's going to take an 18,000 square foot Walgreens or a Rite Aid? All
right.
these things. And I do see the trend. Hey, and those retail landlords are built differently. The bigger ones, right? We
They
learned
are.
that.
Yeah, they're tough in the best way.
And you can almost expect it, just
Yeah.
like that TI is not coming because of allergies. You know what's
Right.
kind of coming. But I do think you're right. I think that the pivot, the re-tenant of the vacancy happened. The Rite Aids haven't been solved yet. That's a newer thing last 60 days, 90 days. But the Five Belows, the Party Cities, the Family Dollar, Dollar Trees, and all those bigger retails that 20-year-old business models.
Yeah.
I feel like that was actually one of the epiphanies for me is, hey, as a landlord, a property person, as a business tenant, 20 years is a long time to run the same business model. I mean, look how much we've already changed in 3 years here.
Right.
So how can that stay in the same confines? So it's almost like, all right, hey, 3-5 year lease, okay, we're now with 20, but hey, you see that things have to pivot. Having a tenant forever is like a 10% kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if anything, that's one of the few in your portfolio. Oh, that was a golden goose there. This one's kind of this. But I do think that people rebounded on using those spaces, not at discounts, not at fire sales, at terms that were reasonable. If anything,
Right.
think about Burlington Coat Factory here.
I mean, I actually think that there's significant upside because a lot of those tenants were paying crazy below market rents.
Yep.
And so getting a tenant that's in there quickly because you're not having to sit on it. And I mean, you're probably still not at market necessarily, but you're a lot closer than
Yeah.
you were 10 years ago when you signed the lease.
And on your annual CPI increase to get there.
Exactly.
Vacancies are actually a blessing in disguise. And I feel like sometimes people hear that wrong, but like you actually want a vacancy. Not if you're a single tenant,
Right.
But you should have your plan B kind of set up and also, hey, bought this single tenant building, or hey, maybe a lot of people bought a Rite Aid in the last 4 years. I appreciate taking my emails and hey, have your co-brokers call us because we live here doing things.
Yes.
But they bought those for crazy numbers. That's a hard fill, but at the same time, those guys were thinking, well, how do you divide 18,000 square feet? Is that two tenants? Is that a drive-through? Is that a bank? That's how I see things.
Yeah.
Not that
But how do you redevelop it?
and that's where I think the retail has a better chance of bringing more value. You got to go through more shit to get there and some roller coasters, but you have a surplus parking lot because your ratio needs.
Right.
The drive-throughs pay how much per square foot? Like there's upside, and even like this
Well, and those are a lot, I think, easier to redevelop than an office building.
office is terrible.
It's a completely different
The narrative
design.
of office is like wah wah wah, right? No matter what size, what big, what market, and it's like I like office, so stop hating. But
Right.
I get it. So it is. It's that's a harder model.
Yeah.
How do you redevelop office? Right now I'm trying to figure out how to make Corner Jadwin, multifamily. Wait, that asset
Right.
doesn't hit now. Wait, multifamily cannot just be the answer
Well,
for
the cost to
every
get it there
conversion.
is, yeah.
So it's just kind of funny, but I do agree that industrial and retail are the hot sectors. But in March, retail was the terrible sector.
Right.
Thank
I
you.
do think that the suite size matters, right?
Yes.
Obviously, our example was like 5,000 square feet. I would say though, I mean, my retail clients that needed 1,500, that was moving, right? Those
Yeah, yeah.
sizes are desirable because again, people are downsizing or right sizing,
Yeah.
figuring out what kind of footprint they need versus getting into a space that's that big.
Yeah.
But
I think also like you can last 3 years in that kind of space, right? When you're like
yeah,
after 5.
it's a lot more affordable.
Yeah, I think you inherit a lot of things with a bigger space, like expectations, or you bring your own money. Last guy was 20 years ago. You know, so like
Yeah,
you know,
improvements, HVAC.
that's
all
the
the
thing is, I was telling you, our big boom of Tri-Cities, Washington was like early 90s to like that 2010 phase, and that's where most of our retail, Gage, Costco, Queensgate, and out there, Road 68, that's our new town, and that's all becoming 25 years old right now.
That's crazy.
I know. So roofs, HVAC, electrical, energy codes, all that crap is now kind of back into where things were easy.
Right.
That's a factor. Those might drive people to sell now. They didn't want to sell. Hey, my
Yeah.
HVAC is $110,000.
I was just talking about that in my networking group
Were you really?
this week. Yeah. My ask was owners that have forgotten to do their capital improvements that want to sell. Because those are a lot of the properties that are moving, right? We have clients that are to the point of being able to buy. They're looking for a property with a little bit of discount, and they're okay with having to make improvements because there's maybe a tax benefit there or whatever it may be, right? So we're kind of in that season a little bit.
That's actually great. The best sector that's in front of us right now of opportunities is those buildings, because just like I did a lot of deals in Oregon Avenue in Pasco, bringing all these 5,000 square foot industrial tenants up to these 10 to 15s, was because they had 30-year-old buildings, and the landlords didn't want to put $100,000 cash on
Right.
the table to do that, just to get 50 cents more a square foot. And so that's where I think the purchase opportunity, knowing those numbers, having good a vendor team and numbers, their kind
Right.
of budget, knowing that.
Well, and then you can buy in the location that you're looking for. Because right now, I mean, you're getting spread out. If you are going to build, it's harder to find a 1 acre parcel for your business. You know what I mean?
For
To fit a
sure.
building, to fit the parking.
Yeah, no more corners, no more 1 acres.
Right.
We're
You're
10
gonna
years
have
past
to put
all
extra
those.
chargers. There's just a lot more that goes into it
Uh-huh.
when you're building ground up.
Yep.
Versus finding a property that's where you want to be.
Yep.
And then maybe having to make that initial investment, but you're already where you need.
Yeah, no, I think if I'm a newer investor, or, I've been saving money to buy a property for my business or just investment, though easier to do if you can fit some sort of business in there with your banker, they'll tell you that too, is budget those numbers in. Know that going into it. If you bring the landlord a number or a seller a number with these things, and they're fair and comps, again, more transparency, more information.
Yeah.
That's how it gets things real, because the more and more that sound, noise, AI, everything's out there, it's kind of becomes, just unknown chaos of truth or not. And so that's where I think the biggest upside is these newer buildings, 2000s, that landlord's like, wait, I'm already cashed out, you know what, maybe it's seller financing. There's just new ways in because of HVAC and other infrastructure that is creeping up at the same time.
Yeah.
So I definitely think you should, again, reach out, see people, see a building you like. You should drive like we do. When you drive stuff, you smile and see properties. You see a new roofer on there. Like, what's that roofer doing? Are they selling? They need something? Is it vacant?
Right.
They level up, and I think open that conversation with a broker and a seller, landlord early, just to know where it's at, is half the battle right there. Because
Right.
now you know expectations a little bit. And I think that really helps save your time, your energy, your family.
Well, I think it helps you get ready, right? Even if it's not something that's in the next 6-12 months.
Yeah.
If you at least start thinking about the process now, you're going to be way more motivated when you have all the ducks in a row.
For sure. I think just get more it does. I think it takes 12 to 30 months basically to get them done right now. So start now. Start grabbing, assimilating information. see neighbors do it, you know,
Yep.
study your journal of business, ask questions, all those things. But hey, I think this has been a great episode.
Yeah.
You know, no bias here, and it's like a lot of good deals. But here's the thing: this really does relate to everyone out there that's trying to get in Tri-Cities, small business, big portfolio, divesting, retiring. These principles are real, and I look forward to talking more about them with you in the future.
Yep. Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks.